Welcome to the High Rankings podcast, brought to you by Dispensary-Growth, the preeminent SEO agency for dispensaries. Each episode will dive into the world of search engine optimization for cannabis dispensaries. We'll discuss the latest strategies and tactics to help your dispensary rank higher on search engines and attract more patients and customers. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, join us as we explore how to maximize your online presence and stay ahead of the competition in the rapidly growing cannabis industry.
Well, hello. Welcome back to another episode of the High Ranking podcast. For us, it feels like we haven't done one of these in a hot minute. For you, there will be no interruption. But we actually haven't recorded a podcast for about 2 weeks. So if we're rusty, it would be for that reason. And also, I still mentally am on vacation. I wish I was. So anyway, we're on episode 82 this week. So we'll dive into that in a bit. But as per usual, let's find out what's going on in your world. What have you been up to other than missing me for 2 weeks?
We were just talking off of this recording. I almost said off the air. Just talking off the recording, and I was just telling her, like, my head has been so clear for these past 2 weeks. Like, it's like not drinking sugar or caffeine.
And honestly, that's a lie because you've been texting me. We were texting whilst I was on vacation.
Anyway, okay, so yeah, it's getting nice and cool here. Halloween's coming up. We will go to a Halloween party. So a friend of mine is having one. My girlfriend's mom, her mom is in town, but we were thinking about going to a Halloween party. Her mom can kind of be a little party animal sometimes. And I have a Cobra Kai costume.
Oh, fantastic.
We're thinking of doing that. There is an Avs game tonight. We record this on a Wednesday night, the 30th of October. There's an Avs game tonight. We're thinking of going to that. I don't know. They are playing the Lightning, actually, Tampa Bay Lightning. And that goalie is a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, that goalie is an animal. Vasilevsky, the big Russian guy, he is so good. He's an absolute freak. So fun to watch. So Halloween coming up, been on the bike a little bit. Turns out my hand is still broken.
It was not magically going to mend itself, is it?
Not in the next 6 months is what a doctor told me, my hand doctor. So yeah, looking at getting hand surgery scheduled. Also, we were talking about this off recording. I'm like 15 years late on this, but I've been getting into The Office. That is one of the funniest fucking shows that might be like top 5 now of like how stupid Michael Scott is, but like really funny.
Yes, but you're watching the American version.
I'm watching the American version, yeah.
Honestly, the British version, the Christmas episode. After you've done watching the American version, watch the British version because it is so good. I think it's better, but I'm also biased. So there we go. Did you watch Ted Lasso?
No. I've just been obsessed with The Office.
Okay, well, after The Office America, watch Office, the British version, and then watch Ted Lasso. Because if you like The Office, you're going to like Ted Lasso.
Okay. My girlfriend and I were watching the WeWork show with Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Apple TV or Apple channel, whatever that is. I think we have 2 or 3 episodes left, but I just got obsessed with The Office. Creed is the funniest fucking character on that show. He is so damn funny. When he sat down and started eating Meredith's cereal, just out of I was like crying. I hadn't laughed that hard in so long. I was crying laughing. It was like so random. And then like, I think I watched something on YouTube of, it was actually an outtake. Like he wasn't supposed to do it, and then he did it, and like the whole set started laughing or whatever. Like that just adds like how funny the element of humor, the level of comedy that show is at. The writing is awesome, and yeah, I realize I'm 15 years late on this, but it is hysterically funny. And my girlfriend was saying, she goes, I just love the fact that I can watch somebody watch The Office for the first time, and like you won't catch all the humor at first unless you like really pay attention, but yeah, just like how the characters develop and who your favorite is. And
I think I'm going to preface this by saying this is my opinion. This is not fact before people jump on me. I personally think that the British version comes across your screen as more of a fly on the wall documentary than the American version does, which is how it was intended. I think the American version comes across similar to a lot of American TV of it being kind of like a sitcom, whereas when you watch the British version, it feels so much more fly on the wall documentary. And I think that Ricky Gervais in particular, but also some of the other actors in the British version, they do awkward in a different way. I hate to say better because it's art and therefore subjective, right? But the cringe factor that Ricky Gervais brings and just how awkward he makes me feel watching him be awkward. I don't think that, is it Steve Carell? Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think he does that part as well. That's not to say that he doesn't have his own strengths, because he truly, truly does. I just feel like I don't think the shows have the same vibe. So the British version didn't do anywhere near as many seasons, but the ones that are the same are almost the exact same script. Obviously changed it a little bit because of American audience, but that's just my opinion on it. And obviously being British and getting the British humor and like the British references, I think that might be why I prefer it more. But that's not to say the American one isn't good. Obviously it's good. Millions of people love it. So, I think they're just done differently.
Is it drier humor? Drier than the American?
I think so, but typically, yes. But I also think that the awkwardness that Ricky Gervais brings is something else, particularly the Christmas one they did.
Mhm.
Oh my God. He has this date set up and
I'll go watch it later. All right.
he has this date set up for this. I think it's the Christmas one this happens in. He has this date set up, and this lady's outside. It's like a blind date or online date or something. And this lady's outside. And I don't think he knows whoever it is that's standing outside, he doesn't know if it's her or if it's not her. But she's a large lady. And he says, "Oh, is your name whatever her name is?" And she goes, "No." And he goes, "Oh, thank God." Like basically to her face, being like, "Oh, thank God you're not on my date. You're fat." Like literally,
Jesus.
it's the awkward, uncomfortable, way that he says it. It's just, it hurts me to watch him. That's how good he is at awkward. Like, I can't watch prank shows. You know, those New York cousins that do the prank show. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah. Impractical.
Yeah,
Jokesters,
can't watch
whatever.
it.
Yeah.
Can't watch it. It viscerally gets me because I hate people being uncomfortable and awkward, and I just can't do it. And that's what he's so great at. But yeah, after you've watched the American one, go back and watch the British one. See how
What I
it goes.
found out was that it's the same camera crew from the American version. It's the same camera crew that was the camera crew for Survivor, their first season.
Mm.
Might have been the first handful of seasons, but they try to make it as raw and as real.
Yeah. I just don't think they
possible.
achieve it as well as the British version. But again, it was a great idea to bring in a reality TV crew because they're not so polished, because they don't need to be.
Okay. I
Makes
got you.
sense, doesn't
Yeah.
it? So, what else have you been doing whilst you've been-
Anyway, I mean, living my best life, honestly, just the mental clarity I've had. Why don't you tell us what you have been doing, Kaz Potts?
Well, we went on a cruise and it was fantastic.
Mhm.
We stopped at 3 different ports. So before I went, remember we were talking about how there was a possibility of a hurricane going to where we were going?
Yeah.
It did go, but it kind of passed before we got to where we were going. So the first day out was the day we got on the Saturday. It was a little choppy that night, and it was a little windy and choppy on the Sunday because obviously storms had been in the area for quite a while, and then this one was coming through. And then on the Monday, we had our first stop, which was Nassau, which we've been to a million times before. My husband has always wanted to swim with pigs. Do not ask me why. I do not know. And so we did that in Nassau, which I think I did send you pictures of that. I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, I did.
Of him swimming with pigs?
Of us with the pigs. I didn't send you that?
I don't think he did, no.
Oh, okay. I'll send you them. There's a picture of me holding a teeny tiny baby pig, but most of the pigs were bigger. So we did that, and then we just got back on the ship because we buy magnets everywhere we go. So we went and bought a magnet and then went onto the ship. We had several days at sea, so there was a lot of food and a lot of alcohol. My husband was drinking absinthe like it was going out of fashion.
How'd
Was
that
great.
go?
It was fine. So there's a bar that they have we were on Carnival, and there's a bar that they have on the majority of Carnival ships, which is called the Alchemy Bar. And it's kind of set up to look kind of like a cross between an apothecary and no, I guess an apothecary. Anyway, so they make all their drinks and they're all done to recipes. So the one he liked the most was called the Quick Fix, which had absinthe in it. And then he figured out he could just they're not allowed to sell just absinthe shots, not allowed to do it. But if they get absinthe and they mix it with a bit of water and sugar, they can sell it that way for some reason. I'm not sure why. It's sure some legal thing. I don't know. So he had those. My favorite bar on this ship was called the Fortune Teller, because it was in like what they call the French Quarter, because the ship was Mardi Gras. So they had this whole like French Quarter section where they had like Emerald's Bistro with New Orleans food, and then they had the Brass Magnolia bar, and then they had the Fortune Teller bar, and they had this one drink that was called, what was it called? I can't remember. But it came in a martini glass. It was tequila. And when I say it was tequila, it was tequila. It was called the Crystal Ball. Okay. Crystal Ball. This thing was gnarly strong. But what was great about this drink was they had this like, so they made the drink and they put it into your glass, and it had some kind of tequila, which I can't pronounce. I can't pronounce any of this. And it had agave, nectar, lime, and something else. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it and embarrass myself. I'm just not going to do it. But then on the top of it, they made this basically, it looks like a ball, like a glass ball that sits on the top of it. But it's made out of smoke. So you can like poke it or kiss it and it just poof. It just poofs. And then you're left with a very strong tequila drink.
How many did you have?
A few, which was delicious. I also drank a lot of Moscato on the boat because that's my wine of choice. And the last cruise we went on, we took my father-in-law or stepfather-in-law, however you want to say it, and my mother-in-law and the kids and everything. And he had never had Moscato before, which was crazy to me. And so I introduced him to Moscato. And in that dinner time, the two of us got through 2 bottles of this Moscato.
Whoa.
And then for Christmas, they bought me a whole case of this Moscato. And it's the same Moscato. And so it was just nice. I don't think we advertised the fact, but we lost him during or over the first hurricane, not as a result of the hurricane, but we lost him. And it was kind of nice because, you know, having a glass of that reminded me of him. But also the first morning we woke up, we went onto the balcony and there was a double rainbow literally off the ship. And I believe what you want. I'm not here to discuss religion or anything like that, but I just thought in my mind, oh, okay, he's here, like, because
that's pretty cool.
He loved the cruise and I wanted so desperately to take him on another one. And unfortunately we didn't have the time. But I texted my husband's mom and was like, I think he's here with us, you know, like, so it was really special. So after that, we had 2 more stops. We went to Amber Cove in the Dominican Republic, where we had decided we were just going to go and do like an excursion on an all-inclusive beach, like beach bar thing. And it was amazing. We were literally front row, chairs, umbrellas. They came and they bought us any drink. They came and they bought us food, like whatever we wanted. And there were 35 of us there. And this thing was big enough for like 300 to 400 people. So we had this whole place to just a few of us. And it was, and so when we were in Nassau, that had been kind of a little choppy. But by the time we got to the Dominican, nothing. There was no chop, no nothing. It was warm. It was hot. The water was crystal clear. It was stunning. And then we did a little shopping at the port. I bought some Dominican rum and stuff for friends. And then the last stop was Grand Turk, which I think was my favorite. We got a rental.
How long were you there?
Like a day. Each one's a day. But we got a rental golf cart so we could go around the island. It's like 7 or 9 miles. And we went up to the lighthouse and there's wild donkeys everywhere. And you can pet them. We didn't feed them. And I only touched one of them. But there were wild donkeys everywhere. We hit up a liquor store for local beer. And then we found this place called Jack Shack, which I guess is very well known. It's like a restaurant bar, which is right on the beach. And then right in front of it, you can rent like chairs and umbrellas and stuff. And it's literally like you're either in the crystal clear water or on the beach. The ship is like right there. And the food we had was like phenomenal, but it was so hot. I was telling you this before we started recording. I like the heat. I can sit on our boat and bake. I am happy. I do sunscreen for those who want to know. But I like being on the heat if I'm in the water, like on a boat, on the beach. Love it. This was something else. I was so hot. I had to keep getting up from my chair. I was drinking. I had one cocktail and the rest of the time I had this massive bottle of water and I was just downing this water. Dude, it was so hot. I had to keep getting up out of my chair to go into the water to cool off. And at one point I looked at my phone because I'm like, I don't know what kind of temperature this is, but the last time I remember being this hot, I was in Ghana in West Africa. So I look at my phone temp weather thing and it says it's 86 degrees with a feels like of 101, which that's not as hot as it gets in where I live in the summer. I was like,
I feel like you know what 101 feels like.
There is no, first of all, how is it 86 and feels like 101? Normally for us, it's like, oh, it's 97 feels like 101. That's a big disparity between an actual 86 and it feels like 101, right?
Mhm.
I would have sworn it was 186. It
Oh,
was so hot, but it was like you could just go in the water and just cool off and then come back. And I really, really loved Grand Turk, and I am very excited because we'll be going back there next year. And then we came back and the ship had a roller coaster on it. So we did that. We gave away a lot of our money to the casino, but we had a fun time doing that. Like, we deliberately took casino money. Like, this is our play money, you know, because we're not really into the shows and those kind of things that they do on the boats. We didn't go and watch any of the shows or comedy or anything like that. So we went and played all the slot machines in the casino. Did formal night. There was a couple of formal nights. Went to the steakhouse. Pizza. The pizza's always really good. So it was just great time. And then we come back to reality of like dentist visits and pets to the vet and Halloween and kids and those kind of things. So yeah.
What was your favorite meal?
Meal? Oh, that's tough because I don't know. I would take something from different meals, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the steakhouse was my favorite, probably entree, because I had Chilean sea bass and I've had it a million times before. But this was probably the best fish I've ever had in my entire life, like hands down. They had this weird bread roll thing that was a hybrid of like a croissant and bread, and I can't explain it. But I'm the kind of person that like my last meal would be crispy bread and salted butter. Like, they gave you butter with it, and I was like, you do not need butter with this. It was phenomenal. But then, like, there were other places we went. We went to they had an Italian place on board where, like, the first time you ate at it was free, but after that you had to pay like $8 or something. I don't really know. But they had, my husband really loved their gelato they had, but they also made tiramisu. And I make tiramisu, and my tiramisu is really good, but this tiramisu was like 80% cream and like 20% the ladyfinger part of it. So that was good. Different thing. I will say there were a few things that sucked. They're known for, Guy Fieri has a burger joint on board. Everybody loves the burgers. I tried the veggie burger. It was awful. I took one bite and I couldn't even finish it. So that was bad. He also has a brewery and a barbecue place. That place, the barbecue was, nothing about that was good. Yeah.
Well, you don't like anything. Well,
Joe was like, no. They called the mac and cheese like daddy mac and cheese. So when you call it something like that, it better be good. It was not good. And they had it was a Chinese Mexican fusion restaurant. And it was like, most of it was like, okay, but they had these one type of noodles that were phenomenal. So my husband's going to try and make those. So it's like, when you think that they're catering to that many people, not everyone's going to love everything, right?
Yeah.
So that's totally fine. Like, no complaints. If you don't try it, you won't know if you like it or not, right? But yeah, our waiter in the main dining room, his name was Alejandro. He was amazing. Loved him. All in all, had a great time. Would do it all over again. Just thoroughly loved it. We got a chance to dress up fancy, which we never really do. So we've been on a bunch of cruises, but this was the first time we've ever done it just ourselves. So it was a great time. Loved every second of it.
You going again next year?
We have another one. So this was a 7-day one. We have an 8-day one on a different ship next year. Yeah.
I've never done the cruise thing.
Yeah. You love it or you hate it. Like, that's just straight facts.
Right.
Some people are like, absolutely not. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be on a boat with that many people, whatever. And other people, we love it because you basically, in a hotel, you only have to unpack once, but you get to see 3 or 4 different places, you know?
Yeah, okay. I would try it. I don't know where I would go, but yeah, I would try it.
It's a good time. It was a fun time. And now we're back down to earth. So
Real life, fam. Back to real life.
life. Halloween is this year. Halloween's not my favorite. I decorated my house this year, which I typically don't do. Not the outside, because we never get any trick or treaters, which sucks. Because if we did, I would go like the whole hog, but we don't. But Christmas
You have a
is
costume?
No, because
Nothing,
like on the years when we've taken the kids are always in the costumes, and the adults typically don't. And this year there's a trunk or treat at the kids' school, and then on Halloween, well, one kid just won't participate because, you know, he's too cool. And the other one, she's going trick-or-treating with a friend of hers in their neighborhood. So, but I like, Christmas is my favorite.
I like me some Thanksgiving, so I can just eat and eat and eat. Also, the night before Thanksgiving is fun too.
Are you, well, I know you don't decorate your house because why would you? But like, I am firmly in the camp that it should be illegal to decorate for Christmas before Thanksgiving.
I know about illegal.
Thrown in jail.
Yeah, and I think you should also take down your decorations after the new year. Like
Oh, no,
don't leave them up like, into February. That's kind
this
of
is
weird.
this is how the law should work. You can put your decorations up on Good Friday. Let's celebrate one holiday if you participate. I know not everybody participates in Thanksgiving. If you participate in Thanksgiving, right, you should have that holiday before you start decorating for the next holiday. Like you can go to the stores now and Christmas is everywhere, but come November, it'll be Valentine's stuff that you see everywhere. It's insane. So I say Black Friday is the first day you can celebrate, and your Christmas decorations must be down by January 6th at the latest. End of conversation. That's it.
Yeah, it is kind of weird to see like Christmas stuff up right now, but I think.
I understand why it's in the stores now, so people have time to buy it. I don't like it, but I understand it. But in your house, there's no excuse.
No. Anyway,
That's the law according to Kaz. So.
the world according to Castbots.
Yep, that would be what's vexing me. It's not vexing me yet because I haven't seen it, but it will vex me when I start seeing it. So, yeah. Anyway, we should move on
What are we
because
talking about?
we are talking about creating content that converts. So, a revenue driven strategy for dispensary. And we really should talk about it because we feel like we've missed 2 weeks, but our listeners haven't missed a beat. So, here we are blabbering on like we haven't talked to each other in months, and they literally had a new episode last week. Sorry about that, people.
So these revenue driven strategy, and there's 4 arms of content that we're going to talk about. And the first one is, I'll just jump right in. City pages. I'll ask you, Kaz, why are city pages important?
They are the crux of local SEO. That's why. If you really want, you should want banging local SEO because that's how you're going to get people in your door. That's how you're going to get people to be buying from your website. That is literally,
They're going to get that bag.
that's going to make you money. So the reason why they are so important is literally that is what is going to get you your customers. That is what is going to help you increase your revenue. So you might be like, well, I don't need a city page. I just have one location. Wrong. You need a city page in order to start building that local SEO. So that's why.
Also, that city page ties into your Google listing, your Google business profile.
You also need for
Yeah.
local.
And that's going to get you found your community level for like dispensary near me, the golden keyword, or like best dispensaries in Denver, dispensary in Denver, whatever those are. You want your city page. You want to be in that map pack and subsequently at the top of Google, and that city page allows that to happen. Because if you don't, your competitors are probably doing it.
100%.
How would you optimize a city page?
I wouldn't. No, I'm kidding. We'll see. I've got.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't. I'd have someone else do it. No, I would do keyword research on my city.
You can't see it right now, but I'm giving your name the middle finger. Yeah.
I'll get a picture of that. Sorry. I'm like, I wouldn't. I'm too lazy. I would obviously be doing some keyword research to make sure that I got keywords that were specifically targeted for my city or cities. And also, if you're in a big city, like say, for example, Denver or New York, that's got like areas within the city, you could also look for keywords for like those areas. I'm not very familiar with Denver. Like there's a cherry something in Denver. Can't remember the name of it. What is it called? Cherry
Tomato or Cherry Creek.
Cherry Creek, right. So
Yeah.
you can also, look and see if there's keywords for like those areas within the city if it's a big one. So I would 100% be, doing keyword research and making sure that those keywords are within my content on the page.
That is crucial. Those local keywords, because that's where, like you said, all your sales are going to come from, those city pages. And then those can tie into your products, which should be an arm of content as well. But these 4, we're not going to list them in these 4 arms of content, but product pages are definitely important. I think back to optimizing city pages, local keywords, proper website hierarchy, tying in the GMB at the bottom of the city page with name, address, phone number, and then tying in, of course, that city page URL with the UTM tag onto your Google listing profile.
Yeah, not your PPC.
Yeah, and not the homepage. Yeah, we see that all the time. Even from other agencies, even like other good like niched agencies in our category, like they do that. It's like it's such a big opportunity that you're missing by doing that, or a mistake. I don't know. It's called what it is. And yeah, pushing for those local customers, like again, dispensary near me, weed near me, those types of keywords that are really like the transactional keywords. But back to hierarchy. So you have the city page and then you have the state page. So like state page being www.dispensary.com/Colorado dispensaries. And then on that page, having content at the state level. So you can rank at the state level and then listing all of your locations, even if it's just one, listing all of your locations in Colorado on that specific page. And that way, it takes a broader approach. So you can cast like a wide net, but it also tells Google, the crawlers and search engines, we have locations in this category, cannabis store. We have these locations at these basically cross streets, like your name, address, phone number. Then you have the Google map on there that's signaling that those locations are in fact at that place. And then there's like, you can have some local content in there go at the state level, maybe like college or like a major landmark, something like that. But everything at the state page should be at the state level.
And also, again, just because you only have one location, you still need the state page. Make that like very clear, because I think a lot of people make the mistake of, well, I don't really need it. I only have one. I don't need a city page or a state page. I only have one location. It's on Main Street in blah blah town. But you need them in order to be able to connect with those people within blah blah town on Main Street. They need to know that you're there. And that's why, even if you only have one location, they are really important.
Right. And then you can even go from there, having the website hierarchy of www.dispensary.com/Colorado dispensary/state laws. So everything in Colorado, like state law, like possessions, licensing info, like all that information can be in that page. And that's a child page of the Colorado dispensary page. So again, everything is siloed. So it's not just that flat structure of www.dispensary.com/Colorado laws. There's a certain structure that Google likes. So you want to make your website as easy as possible for Google to crawl, and by having the right hierarchy, that enables that to happen.
Agreed. And honestly, when we take on a new customer, client, dispensary, if they don't have those pages, those are literally the first pages that we do. And even if they have them, we typically will go in and optimize them, make sure, they're fully up to date, do some more keyword research on those pages, because they are vitally important.
Right. Just updating the content. I mean, that's why Wiki's always at the top of Google, because they have updated content so much. So just updating, state page or state and city pages. I mean, that could move the needle massively. That's huge.
Heck yeah. Oh, blog content. Yay. I like blogs.
The third arm. Why are blogs important?
Because
pardon me. Why do you like blogs, Kaz?
Oh, why do I like blogs? Because you could talk about anything and everything. Because I think the thing I like about blogs so much is that there is such a wide opportunity for creating content, and therefore a massive amount of keywords that you can go after. Now, obviously, you're going to narrow those down per the topic that you're talking about, but you can literally have blogs on strains, you can have blogs on apparatus, you can have blogs on laws, you can have blogs on, I don't know, right now we're facing an election, so you can have really up-to-date blogs on what's going on in your state and in your area in terms of, what's on the ballot or legislation. You can have blogs on medical conditions and which ones qualify in your area and, suggestions of things to try. You can have blogs on different forms of marijuana, whether it's gummies or candy or vapes, or like there's just so many things that you can talk about in a blog. Like there's just so many ideas, and the marijuana space and the dispensary space is changing constantly. And so there's always something that you can blog about. There's always something that is, relevant and up to date and topical. And then there's also stuff that, typically doesn't change. But what's great is if you have a consistent upload schedule with your blog, you keep that cadence the same, and the information that you have is accurate. It's literally like an encyclopedia for people. If someone lands on your website and they're looking for what's the difference between sativa and indica, and they land on your page, they read it, and it is really informative for them, and it's given them the information they need, and then they're able to simply go from that blog page to your shopping option and very easily purchase a product, right? They're going to remember that. And so next time they're like, oh, what's the difference between a dab and a vape? I really don't know. I want to know what this is. They're going to come back to your website because not only were their questions answered, and not only was it accurate and informative, it was real easy for them to then go and purchase what it was that they were wanting to know about. You then become like their resource. And those are customers that will continue to keep coming back to you. So blogs are probably my favorite thing on the website, if I'm being honest with you, because of that reason. Because it's just the variety is just boom.
Yeah, there's a lot of topics you can cover in a blog, educational, and yeah, I mean, just cast again like a super wide net. Well, and informational. This is just me, but I like the educational and informational aspect of it. Like you said, what's the difference between indica and sativa, and just making it super convenient for somebody to purchase from the website.
Yeah.
Just the convenience factor of that, I think, like, I mean, I talk about it all the time. I get poopy pants. Like, if I want to buy something, just make it as easy as freaking possible to let me buy it, because I've already made up my mind. It's just sometimes I get a little impatient and I get poopy pants. I want it now, right? Like, if I figure out on your website the difference between indica and sativa, oh, okay, I can't sleep at night. I'm an insomniac, so I'm going to need some edibles. Okay, so where do I go to buy the edibles?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
I was at dinner the other night, kind of sidebar here. I was at dinner, not the other night. This is like last week with my girlfriend, and I asked for some wings. Like, we walked past the bar into the dining room area, and we sat down and I was like, yeah, those wings actually look pretty good. You're like Thai wings. And the server said, oh, I'm sorry, sir. That's only available at the bar menu. And I kind of like just looked at the server, and I could tell my girlfriend was looking right at me because she knew exactly what I was thinking. I was like, oh, okay, so how do I get those wings? Without being a prick, of course. Like, I didn't say it like a condescending tone by any means. I just really wanted the wings.
Yep.
And he said, okay, well, let me go check. Like, he had to go like ask somebody, like, can I just, and my girlfriend said, I literally know what you're thinking right now. Why can't I just get those fucking wings on this table? And like, it was almost like this whole thing of like, oh, it's weird that I'm asking for wings when they're not on the dining. It was a Friday night at like 7:30, and I just wanted some wings on the table. And it was like, it was almost an inconvenience to do that. And I don't know, it was just kind of like a weird, my girlfriend thought
Yeah.
it was funny.
There's a picture of the wings there because they want you to see them, because they want you to want to buy them, and you
There's
want to buy them. You're just not in the right room to buy them.
Yeah, like in 40-year-old virgin, when Jonah Hill walks up with those shoes, those clear shoes with like the
Yeah.
fish in them, he's like, yeah, I just want to buy the shoes. Why
Yeah.
can't, and she goes, no, this is really weird, but you can only buy them on eBay. And he's like, well, I don't understand what, that's the same thing. Like, just make it as convenient and easy as possible.
Yeah, he should have been like, absolutely, I'll make it happen. And then, like a swan, right? On the surface, all graceful and everything's fine, and I can do whatever you want. But underneath, you're paddling like crazy. That's what he should have done in that instance. You
And
know
he
what I
did,
mean?
like, yeah, and he went above and beyond, and I thanked him. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, and he was great. But I think he could tell by the look on my face, like, I don't see what the problem is. Like, maybe I'm an idiot, but I've also never worked service industry, so I realize I kind of sound like an asshole right now. Of like, I just want some wings. I don't know, is that
And
weird?
it's not a rule he's made up. Somebody else made that rule
Yeah,
up.
but they were great, and the wings were banging. Those wings are fucking fire too. Anyways, yeah. So the whole point here: make it as easy as possible and informational, because those search terms of like difference between indica and sativa, those get high volume. Those get like pretty good volume. While they might not be transactional, like somebody looking for that is looking for information. It's still like, gets your brand out there, gets your dispo out there, the name in your community. But yeah, just have like a simple shopping button on that blog, and introduce them to your menu.
Yep.
And that also adds domain authority. And yeah, like you said, just have a plan going forward and push your domain authority up, and that pushes you up in the map pack.
That's why I like them. My favorite pages.
What is the last arm of content?
I believe it is individual menu product summaries and descriptions. So, like, when we say that, we mean like each individual product has its own optimized, keyword researched description.
Right. So that you're not pulling from the same database of like, Dutchy and iHeartJane for like a description of like wedding cake strain, something that's unique with keywords in there. And why is that important? Something that's unique.
Stand out. First of all, you've done keyword research, right? So you know what keywords are going to perform. But also, if everybody else is using the same descriptions that they just pulled off of Dutchy or iHeartJane or wherever, it's all the same. But you've like optimized yours with the keywords. So
bam. Yep, there it is. That's it. So when somebody searches wedding cake strain in Denver, your individual page, not an iframe, but your individual product page for the wedding cake strain is at the top of Google, because that person is looking where to get it, right? I want that plate of wings that I saw earlier. How do I get those wings? That's basically what somebody's saying. Like, I want a wedding cake strain. Who has it, and where do I have to go to get it?
Yeah, exactly. Will stand out because you're the only one that's you've optimized it with the keyword that the people are looking for.
Yeah, and those strains get high volume. I mean, pre-rolls do too, of course, and brands. Those strains, generally speaking, get very, very high volume. Is there a best practice to putting together the content?
Well,
there is, but what is the best? How about that? What is best practice?
Well, keyword research is going to be literally the foundation of that. You can write content without it, but it's not going to really go anywhere or do anything. And people do it. That's what's crazy. Yeah, so keyword research, obviously, and as part of that, making sure that you have H1s, H2s, H3s that also are keywords. People forget about that. Like, yeah, they might have their paragraph headers, but if they don't make them, they don't have those paragraph headers as keywords, like you're missing out because that will page rank a lot quicker, a lot easier with like having your H1s and H2s as keywords. So do not drone on and on and on. Like, don't write just to write, don't be like, well, I need 1,500 words. No, you don't. If you can say what you need to say and you have your keywords in there in 500 words, why are you putting 1,500 words on a page? People don't want it.
And make it helpful too, like write it for the user first, not so much for, I mean, yeah, use all your keywords, but write it for the user first.
We're not in some literary contest, right? We're in it to make it understandable, easy for people to explain it in a way where it's easy for people to understand. And like, yeah, we're not trying to win some literary prize here. So, keep it simple in terms of what you're trying to explain. Break it down. Make sure you put some images in there that have been optimized, your H1s, your H2s. Don't be trying to use fancy ass words. Like, nobody wants that. They're there for a reason. They're trying to understand something, and you're not going to get, points for using, words that nobody knows what they mean.
And how do you know if that content is actually going anywhere? Like, how do you measure that? How do you track it?
Analytics, Google Search Console. Numbers are your nerdy part of the world, but yeah, you can use SEMrush, you can use Google Analytics, you can use Search Console to show you how that page is performing once you've put it up. So also, you can track, I want to say it's analytics, but I probably got the wrong one. You can track the pages people have come from, right? When they they've gone to. Yeah.
We were looking at earlier a grid report from Local Falcon. So you plug in Local Falcon, you plug in the name of your dispensary. He said run report. You can run like a 5-mile scan or like a 1.5 mile radius scan. So 1.5 mile radius covers 9 miles and with your dispensary in the middle. And it tells you the footprint of like a keyword. So like a keyword like dispensary near me. How is your presence? It's called share of local voice. How is your presence compared to your competitor? And I think that's a really cool grid. It's good to keep an eye on that every 30 days and just run that report. So you can have like dispensary near me and then like city name, like Denver dispensary or Denver dispensaries. And then from there, look at like your top 3 competitors and just optimize from there. I think that's pretty key too. That grid tool is pretty dope. Local Falcon is what it's called.
Heck yeah.
I think that's it. Huh? We've got the 4 arms and best practice on how to put it together. Did we miss anything?
Nope. But we do have a surprise for you guys next week.
Yeah, we've got a good guest. I learned so much. All I'll say is Google has tightened up a lot. A lot. Google is puckered up, and it's just like it's no joke right now with how stringent that algorithm is.
Yes, and we have a guest who I haven't had the pleasure of talking to yet. I know you have. I have not had the pleasure of talking to, and I am so looking forward to hearing like her stories. We briefly, before we started recording, were talking about something about Google My Business, and you had touched on something she had told you about that. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to hear like the insights and the stories that she has as to why, like, I don't know if you've ever seen on like Twitter or Reddit, they're like, what's the rule at your company that is only there because of something that you did? Do you know what I mean? Or like school. You know what I'm talking about? Because there's a rule there because somebody already did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think she's going to have like examples of Google did this or Google put this into place because of this, this, and this. You know what I mean?
Somebody somewhere used a hairdryer while taking a bath.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Somebody, yeah, exactly. Like there's a rule, you're like, why would they put this rule in place? Because somebody did it or tried to do it. And I know she's going to have like the Google version of that. And I'm so looking forward to hearing like her, like we had talked about off air, the situation we had talked about off air. Like those are things where like I know she's going to have these crazy insights that I never heard of before. And I'm so excited to hear her and to get a more in-depth look at the way that Google thinks and operates. Because we hear about, oh, the algorithms changed again, oh, they've done this again. But like to get more in-depth into that, I'm really fascinated. So I think she's going to be an amazing guest, and I'm so looking forward to talking to her.
She is a boss. She is, she's a badass. She is a Google Diamond product expert.
Boom.
So basically, she's like the highest tier as voted on by the Google community, and she can like talk directly to Google. Like she makes things happen. She moves mountains. How about that?
Yeah.
She moves mountains.
Yeah, I am so looking forward to talking to her next week. So, yep, so that's coming up. So we'll be back with another episode next week. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, review, comment, ask a question. I think that's it. LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. That's it. And we'll be back next week with another great episode.
That's it. Peace.
Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the High Rankings podcast, brought to you by Dispensary-Growth, the preeminent SEO agency for dispensaries. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you found value in the insight and the tips we shared. If you did, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're feeling super generous, we would love it if you left us a review. If there's a specific topic you'd like us to cover in a future episode, or if you have any questions, you can go ahead and find us on LinkedIn or YouTube. We'll see you next time.